Okay, this video I'm going to do while seated at the base of a tree, and it took me a couple of minutes to get to the far reaches of this park to where I could focus on this video without distractions, although there are a few. I want to review the importance of understanding the solar cycles. To begin, I think it says something about the human species when you have so many people into some of these religions, as well as astrology, that seem to have very little to no knowledge or interest in accruing knowledge as to how the solar cycles affect humanity. Some of the ways that we do know, that we can quantify with statistics, how the solar flares can affect humanity. We have an increase in battles, wars, invasions, and also false flag events, mass shootings. And we see wild fluctuations in the stock market, in the economy. And we see an increase in earthquakes and other earth change related events, tsunamis. And we can certainly correlate connections with Hurricane Katrina and Fukushima with X-class solar flares. Even if other technologies were used, those technologies were only used to harness the natural powers that were already kicked into gear. Now, some of this quantitative, some of the less documented ways that solar flares influence humanity relate to mass migration patterns of human beings, in particular into certain cities. I think Portland fits that bill. More sex, more babies born, more humans are connecting with each other on that regard. So it's not just a time of war, there's also a time of human passion. And it's also been referred to by Alexander Chavinsky as the Human Excitability Index. So if you could imagine an increase in human activity of all different forms, not necessarily positive or negative, but everything being boosted and amplified. That includes goals reaching completion or beginning. Because what the solar cycles really represent is a birth and death cycle. So you have so many people that are focusing on these sun signs in astrology, that are doing charts and coming up with conclusions based on that data alone as to what someone's personality may be on a certain day or their luck. But yet there's this blind spot when it comes to the actual sun and its influence, the way it projects light. And what the sun is a projector. And the sun is projecting information through the light, through the solar rain, when it comes through our magnetic field and literally trickles down to us. Human beings are affected by the solar flares in a number of different ways. Most important to understand is the magnetite in the human brain, which birds, pigeons, and other migratory animals use to travel. Without their own compass, they have a built-in compass, and they're in tune with nature, and they use the magnetic field to help them navigate from point A to point B. Now, if that same natural technology, magnetite, is in the human brain, that means we are also influenced by the pushes, the pulls, and the changes in the magnetic field. The magnetic field affects weather patterns through the jet stream. It also affects the ocean currents in a number of different profound ways. The Earth's magnetic field is directly connected with the core of the Earth, and the core of the Earth directly impacts other things like the shifting and moving of the ocean. And they've been doing studies on this. These are admitted studies. There's a video I posted recently where several NOAA scientists were doing a press conference with the mainstream media about the recent G4 magnetic storm, which did not have a huge impact on the electric grid or GPS systems, but it was the largest magnetic storm of this solar cycle 24. The next one is 25. And I believe that these solar cycles, these oscillating solar cycles, are building and building and building up to some crescendo, and this potential Tower of Babel, if you will, moment coming up. If we get such a strong solar flare lined up with the Earth at a time when our Earth's magnetic field is weak, we could see this whole transhumanistic, what it's now becoming, this whole grid come down. And so people are resistant to that particular information or idea because there's so much of a psychological dependency on technology and our system and society the way that it is. At the same time, there's so many people that are freaked out about the direction that humanity is going in. And this is where my speculation kicks in, as well as my spiritual perspective. What could be about to go down in our lifetimes, be it now or 10 years from now or 20 or 30 or beyond our lifetimes, seems to be a natural event and what I would call a reset for civilization. And there may be a master plan behind what is to come that's less by chance and more specific, including when the actual event transpires. But as I close here, to be open to this information, one has to let go of their ego that they know everything. And they also have to let go of their fear. I think that humanity's disconnect from nature is the direct cause of why people are resistant to learning about the solar cycles. There's a sense of human arrogance that we're more powerful than it, but people have a smile on their face sometimes when the sun comes out. We see an increase in growth in vegetation. People go out and travel. They spring forward during the spring. People suntan. People get it on at the beach. Clearly, humanity is affected by the very rays of the sun. It actually says something about human consciousness if there's a blind spot when it comes to how the projection of the sun's light affects everything on Earth. And studying the sun and the solar cycles of the sun is far more important in some cases than studying prophecy or doing someone's chart on astrology or even losing yourself down the dark side of conspiracy theory. There is a larger conduit of energy that is powering things on the earth. And this is something that I would recommend people study and take a look at. We'll pick up on this conversation at another time.